A lot of chances created, a dramatic ending. How do you feel about the performance and about the point?
We play a good game, not great, but there was a big pressure. We didn't play calm. We wanted to win immediately without patience. But at the end, I think we have to fight until the end of the season. Leeds played a good game, a true game. We hope they play like this also against West Ham in the next game, because it's right like this. I'm sorry for the penalty we conceded, no, because Matias Tel scored a great game in that situation. Maybe he's very young, no, but it's not a problem. For me, we show the right spirit, everyone. I'm happy for the attitude, I'm happy for the behavior, for the mentality. We didn't play well, but fighting for the relegation is like this. You can't play all games calm with the right quality. We have to improve it and to change the habits, because fighting for the relegation is different than fight to qualify in Champions League. But we know, and we move on.
Yeah, let's break this down, because what do you feel you can do to manage emotions better, especially in those final two games? Because you had a lot of chances in the first half. Was it about nerves?
Yes, but nervous because we are. I'm lucky because I have a lot of good people inside of the dressing room. My players are good players in football, if we speak about football, but good people, sensitive people feel the pressure, what we are fighting, for what we are fighting, and can happen to suffer like tonight, no? Maybe in Birmingham, in Villa Park, we played better, but can happen in our stadium. Yesterday, the result of West Ham was not a match point, but anyway, we played for a big target today, no? Who played football understand my words.
You mentioned Matias Tel. What kind of conversation do you have with him after tonight? Because he scored the goal, but then again, a bit reckless in the penalty.
Nothing. He's young. He's a talent. I will kiss him and I will hug him and stop, because he doesn't need too many words. He was sorry for the mistake, because it's not a mistake, but can happen for a young player to make that mistake in that situation.
Talking about challenges, right in the end, the Madison appeal for a penalty. How did you see that in that moment?
I don't know. I think the referee was not, I think, in the right condition today. I don't know, maybe it was not so calm but nothing for the result. I didn't see the situation of Madison. I think the polemic of yesterday in West Ham Arsenal was tough for everyone, no? Maybe for the referee as well.
Why did you feel that the referee wasn't at his best tonight? Because I saw that you got booked as well.
At the beginning of the game, they went to me after 1 minute to say stay inside because a yellow card. After 1 minute, I didn't understand why, because, okay, it's a game, it's an important game, it's a crucial part of the season, But if you are good with yourself, you can make mistake. I don't know. I don't want to speak about the James Madison penalty. I didn't see, and nothing changed now.
On what you can affect in those final two games. There's been a lot of positivity in the past couple of games especially, and you've been very confident since you arrived. So how do you make sure you keep that positivity in the dressing room with the players?
But listen, yesterday, 2 days ago in press conference, I said that we can't forget what was the situation 2 weeks ago. Just 2 weeks ago, not 2 months ago. And 2 weeks ago, we lost in Sunderland. After Sunderland, was impossible to see ourselves in 2 games before the end of the season, more 2 points than West Ham. So now we have to be positive. We have to work harder than other situation, but we have the quality to make other points and to stay up. I think we deserve to stay up. Stop, and we fight until the end. When you fight for the relegation, you have to stay strong, not with the legs, but with the head, and to push until the end. And also, if we win today, it's not finished yet.
Thank you, Roberto.
Before the match, Jermain, about his psychological powers. Have we seen that at work there? So there wasn't too much wrong with what Spurs did, but there was a lot wrong with everything else in the evening, including the officials.
Yeah, of course, you have to protect your players.
Is that something that you've had to learn as well as a manager?
I think you have to. We spoke before about the psychology of football. Young players, and he spoke about Tel. I'm going to kiss him and hug him. Players will watch these interviews. All of a sudden, for a young player, how does that make you feel? When you felt like you've let the team down, when actually you haven't, because like he said, young players make mistakes. But he's a top player. We're going to need him. And yeah, I mean, he's a top manager. He spoke about having good characters in the change rooms, good people. I think that helps.
Does his return and does the form the team have shown since he's come back make you think they will?
Yeah, I was just gonna say he spoke about, which was a good point, about losing against Sunderland away, and then having to look forward and where they are now. So they're going in the right directions. The performances are improved, and the results. And I think that's all you can ask for, really. Unlucky tonight. It's a silly moment in the game. When you need calm heads. But they're going in the right direction. Like I said, it's 2 points and 2 more games there.
Maximum 4 points needed from the final 2 fixtures. Realities, they might not need anything, depending on what West Ham do, starting at Newcastle on Sunday afternoon. Chelsea is in 8 days' time. That is going to be, that could be a bear pit, Jamie, couldn't it, at Stamford Bridge?
I'm commentating on it. I'm looking forward to it. It should be a good game. Am I allowed to give that away, am I?
Well, I'll be presenting it as well. Let's give it all away. We're there for a reason, because we think it's going to be a really good night.
No, listen. I think Chelsea-Tottenham games, since I've been working at Sky, are probably one of the fixtures that it just feels like there's always something on. There's a little bit of needle there. Obviously, 2 good, huge football clubs. So I'm really looking forward to that game. And, it's just a lot riding on that Newcastle game, isn't it? A couple of days beforehand, and that can completely change the sort of outlook of Tottenham going into that game.
I suppose my question, Jermain, on the final day is, would you be nervous if it does go to the final day about the part that the crowd at Spurs getting nervy could play on them getting a result against Everton?
Of course, you'd be nervous now. Especially, I think that these players would be nervous, and a lot of these players have not been through a situation like this before. It's the first for many of these players. So you'd be nervous now, especially not getting the 3 points tonight. A little bit of breathing space. But yeah, if going down to the last game of the season at home, in front of your home fans, of course, normally you'd think we'd rather play at home. You get the job done at home. But I just feel like the way it's gone this season at home, of course you'd be nervous. I think that's only natural.
And you also heard Roberto De Zerbi say he hoped to get a Leeds play like that tonight, as they show the same level of performance on the final day against West Ham. And when he says things about players like Ethan
Well, as I said, Sir Alex Ferguson said that about Leeds, didn't he? That you just mentioned there. So
Yeah.
We'll see we thought we didn't have that anymore, didn't we?
What?
Mind games from managers.
The mind games, yeah, he started it. He's trying every trick. Of stoppage time as well. So this is how it stands. Spurs up to 38 points. That would have seen you safe in the last 15 years. There's still a big question over this season because West Ham can still get to 42 with the 2 games they've got left. And again, that goal difference could be really significant. 11 the difference in Spurs' favour. But West Ham United in action next at Newcastle on Sunday. 5:30 kickoff. Jermain, do you think they can get something there?
I think they can. I think Newcastle are not the team that they normally are at home, that we've seen in previous seasons. It's been up and down. I think it's not even about performances now, is it? It's just win. You just got to win. I think they could get something there.
Well, then the question, Jamie, is can Spurs get something at Chelsea?
Well, I said before the game,
time.
Listen, that's a tough game, but it's easier than that.
Yeah.
Now, who knows how the cup final goes for Chelsea, if that could have an impact as well. But I could just imagine the atmosphere in that stadium, those Chelsea supporters. Listen, it's a rivalry, it's football. You know, they'll be desperate to send Tottenham down or certainly put them in a really difficult position going into that last game. And it's just, listen, whether that helps them or not, we only know on the back of the Newcastle game for West Ham, where they're playing, a couple of days earlier. If they lose that game, it's just pure, they can relax. Tottenham. But imagine West Ham win that one. And then go on there to one of your biggest rivals.
Imagine if they don't, they have a chance to make themselves safe at Stamford Bridge, and they would love nothing more than that. All those games and every single remaining Premier League game is live on Sky Sports. We're going to bring you every dramatic. So they are left to reflect on the fact that, 2 points dropped or a point gained, the big save, of course, which at least gave them a point. And it keeps them 2 points clear of West Ham United with that superior goal difference, which will be effectively an extra point. But would you believe that is the first time this season that they've gone unbeaten in consecutive home games, which tells a story of its own, doesn't it, Jermain?
Yeah, we spoke before about obviously the manager coming in, making an impact, making the team harder to play against. Obviously, they're always going to have long periods with the ball because obviously the manager wants to dominate possession. That's what you do without the ball as well. The other side of it's so important.
We've spoken before about individual moments. Who's going to come up with that special X factor for Spurs when they really needed it tonight? They got it from Matias Tel. He was very much the man of the moment this evening.
Yeah,
Jermain.
we said it in the first half. He looked like the bright spark in the game. And the first touch is sort of like underneath his feet.
So would you say it's a good touch?
It's not. It's an unbelievable finish. But to do that and generate that sort of power with not much backlift.
Because if he touches it further, does he not get challenged? I
think you'd want to get the first touch right. Yeah. You can say that because obviously he was getting pressed on that, but to get your shot off that quick, obviously there's bodies in the way, but to get that dip, it's an unbelievable finish. But he looked sharp all game.
He did, and full of confidence. And that's his first goal from outside the area. He tried one or two things. He tried an interesting cross in front of his own box in the first half. And then this is perhaps a player who's feeling full of confidence, Jamie?
Yeah, listen, it's just a crazy decision. Now, what you think sometimes is, OK, we've been there as players where you don't see the opposition player coming in. But we've got an angle now where he's about to make his decision and he sees him. So just keep an eye on his right eye. He looks now. So he's made his decision, going to overhead kick it. As soon as he knows there's somebody on his right side, that decision had to change. Now, he still has time. He looks, he's still moving his feet to get into a position to overhead kick it away. He's got to change his decision. I was given not so much the benefit of the doubt initially, but I thought, OK, he hasn't seen him. He has seen him. He knows he's coming, and he still sticks with the overhead kick.
And
really
the big question for Jared Gillett was whether there had been contact, and I think that's all the evidence that you need. It's got stud marks across his face, hasn't he? There clearly was contact. Yeah. Try and give us the striker's perspective, the attacker's perspective of defending like that in your own box.
You just can't do it. That's when you need calm head. But the fact that he has a look there and he sees him and to still do it, I think you just got to head that away. You just got to clear your lines, but because once you do overhead kick, you're out of control. Like even when you're in the opposition's box and you do it, you never know when the ball's going to go. You try and make contacts in that, but you're out of control. You just can't do that.
We're talking about a young attacking player who has made two ridiculous decisions in this game. You mentioned one in the first half where he crosses across his own box and he does that. And Zebi will be furious, but he's got to remember he's a young attacking player who has actually made a massive difference to Spurs right now. He came off the bench at Wolves. He got the corner, got the winning goal. He set up a goal at Aston Villa, the second goal. He scored a goal tonight, and that's the conundrum managers have. You know someone's going to
needs him.
He needs him.
Can't lose him.
He needs him because they haven't got players, the injuries. But there's no doubt there's a player there. There is something there, and he's seen it in the last couple of games. And this isn't tonight. Listen, he won't forget tonight. But this is the one across his own box. And you can imagine the Zebi and the coaching staff.
I'm trying to imagine you in that situation.
But even the supporters.
What you would have said to him if he was a teammate.
He
would have gone mad.
You'd be going nuts. But then the good at the other end, certainly since he's come back into the team, since he came on at Wolves, and even at half-time, everything we showed that was good from Spurs was from him. And then in the second half, he goes and gets that goal. So that's the art of probably management, and Zebi knows it a lot better than me, obviously, but he's probably got to still treat him with kid gloves in a certain saying and say, he's given us so much going one way. We might have to put up with these little bits and bobs, but an overhead kick in your own box like that, when you know the player is there, that's something you can't accept.
No, you can't.
Talk me through the penalty, Jermain, because I can't remember seeing someone stand up, look so confident as Dominic Calvert-Lewin did here.
Yeah, I mean, again, you know, he's had a season where, you know, he's not had many injuries, so he's been able to get rhythm.
Harry Kane-like?
Yeah,
the technique.
The little, yeah, but no one. So you're not saving that. If you can hit anything high in the side netting, it's a great penalty. And he looked a threat tonight. You know, he was strong and he made it difficult for the Spurs defenders. And yeah, it was a really good penalty.
13 minutes of added time, of course, and we didn't know which way the game could then go. Could Leeds go and steal a winner to further delight West Ham fans, or could there be a goal at the other end? Well, actually, it was Leeds, and as Jermain said before, just an unbelievable reaction time, Jamie.
Listen, I mean, that is... It must be the greatest save he's probably made in his career. I keep going back to maybe the Pickford one at Newcastle, is the only save I can remember. Maybe there's a couple from Raya. This season he's been outstanding, but to get your arm up that's quick, the angle, yeah, I mean, Longstaff couldn't believe it.
Wow,
it's the redemption story, isn't it, Jermaine? Yeah. From where he was before, that humiliation in Madrid, everyone questioning him for his 14 minutes.
Yeah, it was a hard watch. It was hard to see it. You know, you don't wish that on any young player, but to show that sort of resilience and like thick skin. To come back and, you know, for a moment like this, like a big moment in a game of this magnitude, to pull off a save like that, you can't teach that.
But it makes his save in the first half look like a walk in the park. Yeah. You know, his save in the first half was outstanding. But doesn't that tell you what football is? We know, we've experienced it. It's an absolute roller coaster, and it'll never change. There's ups and downs in a career. And who'd have ever thought that he would probably ever play for Tottenham again on the back of what happened at Atletico Madrid.
You said, Jamie, he always claws it back from behind him. Almost.
Unbelievable save. This is a great angle, this. It's almost behind him when he gets down. Brilliant. And I think you'd have to have a heart of stone if you didn't feel sort of delighted for this young lad after what he went through.
As I said, in Madrid. Ball, Jermaine. Are we looking at the next Spurs number one?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure, I think, you know, and like I said, for a young player to go through what he's gone through and to come back on the other side and two massive saves like that in such a big game, you know, the signs are there. You know, I can imagine that he's a good trainer, a good professional, but delighted for him.
Everybody thought his Spurs career was over a couple of months ago. Yep. That save from Longstaff, that at the end of the season we'll know, but that could be the save that keeps them in the Premier League.
Yeah, huge moment in his career and maybe Spurs season as well. There was still time for another twist late on because James Maddison comes on the pitch. First action for over a year. Might you've got a penalty here, Jermaine. What did you think when you saw this?
Well, Carragher started screaming and then it's... Yeah, when I first saw it, I thought, it's penalty. But yeah, I think he obviously gets a little touch. But defenders, I spoke to Carragher before about, you've got to be so careful when you're lunging. Your footwork's got to be a lot better because when you're lunging, again, you're out of control and there's a risk, obviously, giving away a penalty in that. But yeah, I just thought. I mean, the reason I screamed was because every time Maddison got on the ball, I just felt it was going to be one of those moments where he decided the game, and I could imagine him getting the penalty. He's going to take it, isn't he? You know what Maddison's like. And there's just a slight touch on the ball. He gets to the right decision.
So he came on in the 85th minute. He had 22 touches in the game. I mean, he probably didn't expect, as I said before, an extra 13 added minutes. But does that tell you a story in itself that Spurs, his teammates know when he's on the pitch, you have to get the ball to him.
But that's the great thing about Maddison. No matter what's going on in his career, he's just come back for his first appearance from a horrific injury. He'll always want the ball. Every time you see... Listen, we've done a piece on Odegaard tonight. Brilliant in terms of showing leadership, always wanting the ball. That would be Maddison. No matter what the situation. If this goes to the last game of the season against Everton, understandably so, there'll be real nerves in that stadium from players. Will they want to receive the ball? That would not be the case with him. Maddison will always want to receive the ball. I just had visions of him doing something, coming in here and giving it Charlie Big Potatoes. I've kept Tottenham up. You can imagine it because he's that type of character.
Friend of the show. He and the other Spurs players are still in the...
And how proud are you of the fight the team showed tonight?
Yes, very proud, because sometimes during a long season there's also a game that you don't just win with your football quality and dominating each and every moment. Sometimes you have to show steel, especially in a difficult away game. Tottenham back-to-back wins here, important home game for them with a difficult week. Important players are out and had to play also today. Some players out of position. Then once you go 1-0 down after this first half and then early in the second half, can be very difficult, and sometimes you can crumble. Not us. We showed again that we didn't want to lose this game. We stepped up. I think fully deserved also to equalize, and we're pretty close also to turn the game completely to win it. And this says a lot about the mentality, about the character of my team. Although really many important players were missing today, and also during the game, Pascal Stoic then additionally also out. And so we showed great resilience against all the adversity, and I think we're a bit unlucky not to win it in the end. Yes, but the point is also important for us in the table, also in comparison to Tottenham. And for that, it was definitely a good night for us.
Yeah, as you mentioned, you had problems with your starting 11 with injured players. That first half, those final 20 minutes in the first half, where they managed to speed up the game. How difficult, how challenging was it to deal with that? Because they had a few opportunities.
Yes, I think could have been a bit braver in the first half. So the 50-50 duels were not falling to us anyhow, and we were one or two times pressed in the build-up, and this has impressed us. So would have preferred to be a bit colder and say, okay, come on, it happens, but we play further on. So we played a bit too many long balls in the first half, but also reminded them at the halftime during the halftime to be a bit more braver and stick to our principles and how we want to build up. And I think second half was way better in many aspects. But it is sometimes you also have a difficult game on the road, a few changes needed. You need a bit of time to come into it. It's also a sign of quality if you then can step up with your performance during the game. And for that, I just have compliments for my players today.
Yeah. How pleased were you with the way you were able to capitalize on the momentum after you scored the penalty?
Yes, of course, a draw is a better result for us in comparison to Tottenham, but I like that we just didn't want to sit back. It's more like we pressed them high, wanted to create further on chances, and my players were greedy also to score and to win this game. Of course, we always play to win wherever we go, and okay, if it's not possible, then we might want to make sure that we don't lose it, but in our DNA will always be that we want to win football games, and this is also what we've shown in this period of the game.
How nerve-wracking was it to have 13 minutes of added time?
Yes, it feels when we are chasing the game, maximum is given us always 4 or 5 minutes, but once we're in lead anyhow, then we have record added injury time. But
surprised with the 13 minutes?
It's not my topic to judge it. I was quite happy because I know we have a top fitness level anyhow, and I also want to chase this game. Of course, a draw is a good result for us, but in the end, it felt also like no, we can win it. And Sean Longstaff had 2 great chances, one unbelievable save of the goalkeeper, and for that I was not too annoyed, if I'm honest.
And before the game, we were talking about keeping focus because the main goal was achieved. You guys are safe. But tonight, was it a big show of the character this team built throughout the season and the ambitions you may have for the future as well?
Yes, if someone is not highly motivated, once you represent this amazing club anyhow, you put a shirt on, there's more like there's no doubt. Of course, we don't need the points in terms of survival anymore, but how can you not be motivated? And I don't need players that I need to motivate. It's more like then you're not a player for Leeds United. So if you put the shirt on and represent this club, then you have to be at your very best. And we also want to finish as high as possible. And if you have a Premier League game, then you have to be there with your best possible shape and with your best possible performance. And this is what we're all about, what the dressing room is all about, what my players are about. And we have created this culture and will never stop. So I was not 1% concerned before the game.
And finally, did you have a chance to watch back the challenge on Maddison? What's your view of that, of the penalty appeal in the end?
No, I didn't have the chance to watch the scene back. James was my player when he was pretty young at Norwich. I know how smart he is, and that he can then also influence a game. And he won very smart a few free kicks. Also, like, he's unbelievably smart in the box and knows also what he has to do in order to win something for his team. Normally, a smart and experienced he meanwhile is. I would suggest perhaps it was a bit light that he went down, but I haven't seen the scene back anyhow, and I think it was also reviewed anyhow. So probably it was not a penalty.
Thank you.
You've been hugged when you've had a Daniel Farke hug.
There's a lot of love. A lot of love, wasn't it, in that hug?
There's a lot of love in
Wow.
that. We questioned before the game what intensity Leeds would bring, given they were already safe. Did we get our answer?
Yeah, I said it. I spoke about standards, and the manager mentioned culture at a football club. Everyone's sort of like pulling in the right direction. Second half, they were really good. Good football team, you know. I don't think they get enough credit. You speak about Leeds and what they do without the ball and out of possession. But I think when they get the ball back, because at some stage you have to have a spell and show your quality, and I think they did that tonight, and I think they've done that throughout the season.
Are you quite looking forward to seeing what they do next season, Jamie?
Yeah, a lot was made of what they did in the summer. They recruited a lot of big lads, shall we say. I thought it was really clever, understandable, get themselves equipped physically for the Premier League, and maybe I had an idea about how Leeds would play. But I think Leeds were the first Monday Night Football, weren't they, against Everton? I think first show we did this season. And some of the football they play is fantastic. I love them. I love watching them play. I think they're a really good team. I've almost got to try and figure out in my mind that they're a promoted team, because you'd always have this sort of thing in your head that will they be able to compete in the Premier League? It's a step up for a lot of the players. And I know they bought some players, but I feel like I'm watching an established Premier League team.
And how smart was it to stick with the manager when his future was being questioned?
Well, listen, it's easy for us to say now, but there was always a lot made that he was a championship manager who couldn't cut it in the Premier League. But I think he's proven a lot of doubters wrong. He's had a real influence on the team in terms of changing the system. But the football they play, they haven't just come in and sort of, whacked it long, relied on set piece. They play really good football. And in Ethan Ampadu, every time I watch him play, I'm impressed by that lad. He's been one of my favourite players, certainly midfield players I've watched in the Premier League this season. Every time I watch him, doesn't have a bad game. Fantastic.
I think we can see from his forehead that he was definitely caught. Before we come to that, the brighter moment for Matias Tel, 5 minutes into that second half. I mean, how good a finish was this, Michael?
It was a lovely finish. It's so disappointing. He'll be so disappointed that he obviously gave that penalty away, because that was just, you'd be screaming if you were the manager. But the goal itself was a beauty. His first touch was great. He couldn't take his first touch in front of him. He had to keep it tight to him. It was perfect. He virtually stopped it dead, actually, and then bent it in that far corner. It was probably the only place it could have gone. Obviously off a corner, the ball was looping and high, and it had to be a lovely touch. But it killed it dead. Keeper gets a tiny, tiny little touch, Robber, but very hard to save that one.
Yeah, difficult because he's fairly unsighted as well. His two defenders that go out don't help him. They both go out to close the ball down, get so far, stop. Stack and Tanaka turn the back on the ball. Harsh to look at the goalkeeper. I mean, it's a wonderful finish. And as you say, it's his first touch, and there's no backlift, and that's off half a step. Really is a great finish.
So that was the hero moment. And then he became the villain with this incident with Ethan Ampadu. And as I say, we know he caught him looking at his forehead. But what was he thinking here?
It's almost unforgivable. I mean, when you look at it from a different angle, it's not like he didn't know that Ampadu was coming. I mean, for him to be in that situation, facing his own goal, and to attempt that there, it's a rush of blood to the head. And you see Richarlison doesn't really clear it. Brave from Ampadu, because he can see what's coming ahead of him. But you look here, he just looks over his shoulder. You weren't happy with that, was you?
Oh, I can assure you, if you're Ampadu, your eyes are lighting up. You know you're going to get a kick in the head, or a kick in the shoulder, or a kick in the chest, and you know this is a penalty. In fact, you know about 5 seconds before it happens.
Wasn't given on field, we should point out.
Really, really surprising. It's as clear-cut as it gets. And so is this. It's a great finish. Absolutely thumps it into the corner. No chance. Yes, it's a great finish. Absolutely thumps it into the corner. No chance for the goalkeeper, and leaves it back in it. Brilliant finish.
Yep, that's 9 of 11 career penalties in the Premier League for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. You could see what De Zerbi thought of that challenge there from Matias Tel. So that was a good use of VAR. Now, on to the big talking point right at the end. Substitute James Maddison hasn't played for 300 and
such a difference when he came on. But I think Nemecha will say that he got slight touch on the ball. But when you watch the ball, it's not like Nemecha's kicked the ball out for a corner kick and the ball's out of play and Maddison's not getting it. Regardless of whether he's got a touch on the ball, that football's still in play and he's stopped Maddison getting it. It's a penalty.
OK, this is what the PGMOL have said. In response to that, their explanation for not giving the penalty. There we go. The match centre, the referee's call of no penalty to Tottenham Hotspur was checked and confirmed by VAR, with it deemed that Nemecha played the ball. Michael?
No, penalty for me. I mean, we watched it a few times, and I take Robbo's point. Even if he's tiny feathered it, which is the max he's done, if he has touched it, it's a tiny little feather of a touch. It's still in Maddison's, area. It's still in play. I think that's a penalty. I really do. When I thought, oh, Maddison's played for it here. He's gone for a little bit of a dive, and I still feel he's played for it, but there was far more contact than I thought at first sight. I don't really blame the referee for not giving that in real time, but I thought VAR would overturn it.
It's a touch ironic that West Ham were so unhappy with VAR yesterday. They'll be delighted that they didn't give that penalty, though, won't they?
Yeah, absolutely delighted. I mean, that's the two sides to VAR that we've seen. But like I say, I understand the explanation. And the explanation's right. If the Nemecha puts his foot through it, it hits the advertising hoardings and it's out for a corner. And Maddison's got no chance of getting the ball. If he gets the slightest touch on the ball there, he stops Maddison continue his movement to get the ball, to get the next touch. And even if VAR... I mean, they were adamant. That's why the referee didn't get sent to the screen, because the referee's got to be sent to the screen if VAR think it's a mistake. So it's VAR that have made that decision. But it'd be very interesting if that was given on the field. I think it would stand.
Let's, before we go, look at those two magnificent saves from Kinski, and you wonder how crucial one in each half were here for Spurs.
We said at half-time, didn't we, never underestimate a point. And when you look at the balance of play and you look at these chances what Leeds had, these two saves have earned Tottenham a point. That's a superb save with his left hand in the first half. The defence helped him. They cleared the 6-yard box for him, but that's brilliant. It's behind him. It's a great big claw. Not only does he keep it out, but he keeps it on his person as well. That's a really difficult technique and great reflexes. And I think, arguably, the second one's even better. I didn't see it. Michael saw it before me.
Well, I was just about to ask you, Robert, which is the best? Which is the hardest? I mean, it's very rare that you see two saves in one game that you could argue save of the month, even in the reckoning for save of the year. Both of these. Which is the hardest?
Second one's muscle memory. Second one's the one where you do 200 or 300 times in training. That's muscle memory. You know, the speed of the ball, the pace of the ball. That's just pure reaction, and that's what training does. You know, you can train for however many hours you want, 100, 200 footballs a day, and you might never get to replicate the saves you do in training. But that is just pure instinct. His positioning's great, which allows him to make that save. The relationship that he's got with his goal line, he knows exactly where he is. The reaction and the muscle memory has been allowed to do it.
Brilliant.
It's super. You look where he is. He's not too close, he's not too far back, and his positioning allows the touch to then put it onto the crossbar. Pure muscle memory. First one a quality save, that one a great reaction.
Quick look then, where does this leave us? 2 points and better goal difference, 2 games left to play. West Ham play next, Michael. If they win at Newcastle, Spurs play at Chelsea in the bottom 3 again. Is that psychologically crucial?
Yeah, it is. And I think that West Ham will be secretly happy there tonight. They could have been virtually dead and buried if Tottenham had won tonight. They're still in with a puncher's chance now. 1 win and they go out of the drop zone. So, yeah, I think West Ham reasonably pleased. Spurs, that's not a disaster, but, you know, they've got a couple of tough games to come. So we said, is there going to be any twists and turns for the rest of the season? After seeing that, there could still be.
What drama. Robert, great to see you. Thank you very much indeed. So, it is advantage Tottenham at the bottom, but there's still some work to be done to stay in the Premier League. From the 3 of us, see you soon.